Alright guys, so today we are going to work on something very simple, and this is a very basic thing that usually people who are hosting a new website, they usually do. So let's dive into it pretty quick. So we are going to create an instance on AWS and going to point a website to that, and just going to set up a basic Ubuntu server on AWS EC2 and going to run a website. So let's start with it. First thing, here you can see I am already logged into my AWS account. This is a newly created. I just go to EC2 section, and from there I'm going to launch an instance. Yeah, here it is, launch instance. Okay, so I'm going to give a name as let's say let's call it fashion. This is going to be let's call it fashion trends, and going to choose Ubuntu from here, and it's going to be the latest version. There it is. All right, and has 23 micro. It's 2 vCPU, 1 GB of memory. Yeah, that should be okay. Actually, eventually you're going to run a WordPress website on this instance. So I think we're going to go for a bit bigger. Let's call it let's say 2 vCPU and 4 GB of memory. All right, or yeah, let's go for T2 large, 2 vCPU and 8 gigabytes of memory. All right, it's asking me to create a key pair. Going to create it real quick. Fashion key. It's going to be a PM file because I'm on Mac, so I'm going to use .pm file to connect to my instance over an SSH. So let's create it, and it will ask me to download the PM file. So I'll just simply download it into my directory. Download it to downloads. All right, and then it says a security group. I don't have any security group right now, so create a security group. SSH allow HTTPS traffic from the internet. Yeah, traffic from the internet. All right. Now configure storage. I'm going to go with 30 gigabytes GP3. So the file system is saying EFS S3, and it's because if we are going to use the instance under any load balancer, so in that case there's going to be multiple instances, multiple EC2 instances under one load balancer, and when we need to manage the files stored in any EBS volume, then to synchronize across all the EBSs under the EC2 instances which are connected under a common load balancer, an application load balancer. In that case, we are going to need to use the EFS, elastic file system, but not for our purpose. And in advanced details, let's say what we have. All right, let's keep everything as it is. Now we're going to launch our instance. All right, it's launched successfully. So now we're going to see the details. And there's one thing to note, that I have launched my instance in this region, North California, which is US West 1. It's taking a bit longer than usual to fetch your data. All right, there we go. So this is our private IP address. This is our private IP DNS, and the thing that we're going to need is, the first thing we will be doing is create and assign an elastic IP, which is going to be our public facing IP version 4. All right, so I'll look at an IP address, Amazon pool, and new tag. All right, not going to use any of it. Okay, so this is our IP address 54.193.91.183. I'm going to associate it. Yes, associate elastic IP address is going to be on our running instance. And there we go. So this is the IP address that we just have set up. If we try to open it, you can see it shows nothing right now, because it has no software installed on it right now. And we also have to cross check the security groups. So we're going to do that. Let's go to instances, and then our running instance, and there we go at the bottom, it's security groups. Right, so what we have now, it's this inbound rules. It's a 22.443.80. It's incoming from anywhere. So this format means anywhere, and if we need to change it, we can, but we don't need to. So the next thing we're going to do is connecting to our instance. And all right, you can see the instructions to connect and all this, but we are not going to use any of it. I'm going to use my computer terminal to connect to this instance. All right, so our public IP address is this. All right, and now let's the terminal. Okay, so we have copied the address, and I'm not going to create that shortcut to connect to the AWS, because this is only for the display purpose. I'm not going to keep this instance or the connectivities that I'm making for a very long time, so basically not going to use it. So I'm just going to connect simply downloads, and then the name was fashion pam, user should be Ubuntu, and then the IP address. Yes, I want to add the fingerprint. All right, SS web permission again, siege mode 0. Okay, just need to make the permission read only for the private key for it to work. And there we go, we have logged in into our server, as you can see. So the first thing we're going to do is apt update and apt update. Okay, so first we need to elevate the user access to root, and then pt update to upgrade. All right, so it's just going to take some time, and it's going to update all the packages, all the softwares, and upgrade all the necessary modules and softwares, just to make sure that we are at the with the latest version of the operating system, as well as all the pre-installed softwares which are there on the instance. All right, so we are all done. Let's see on the process that is running on the server. All right, okay, so now let's check whether we have Apache installed. No, we don't. So the next thing we're going to do is install Apache, and the other things we're going to need is MySQL or Mariadb, and I think it's called a Mariadb server. Well, we'll check about it. Okay, so first we're going to install Apache. All right. All right, so our Apache is installed. Now let's go back. And run our instance. There we see Apache default page, because our Apache is now installed and running. And the other things that we gotta check is the package name for MariaDB. So, alright, okay. Called MariaDB server. Yeah, there it is, MariaDB server. And also going to search for PHP 8.4. Oh, there is nothing else PHP 8.4, but let's say only PHP. Okay, so we're going to install MariaDB server and PHP. So these are the packages and dependencies those are going to get installed. and we can see it's installing PHP 8.5. So it's say yes, continue. All right, so the next thing we're going to see, we're going to check the installed PHP modules. So these are the modules that we have here on the server. So we're going to install a couple more PHP libraries which are going to get used. PHP installed, PHP, then MySQL, the intl, mbcrypt, then gd, then zip, core, mbstring. Yeah, this should be good enough. Yes, so I want to find this too. MySQL, I think it's ND, and this is mcrypt. I think so. Yeah, PHP for MySQL is going to install that one. All right. So it's also going to install all the dependencies which are going to be required to run our PHP properly. And there we go. We have everything installed. And let's check the modules once again. All right, we have all of these things here. And so the next thing we're going to do is running a site with the domain name. Actually, the DNS zone is not managed from here. It's managed from Cloudflare. So I just have to go in there. All right. So our DNS for this particular domain is managed from Cloudflare. That's why we just logged into our Cloudflare account and come to the DNS record management section of Cloudflare. And from there, we're going to add the record for, is going to be the name, the subdomain name, and then the IP address. The IP address is that public address that we just copied from there, and let the proxy be enabled, no worries about it, and save it. All right, and let's, okay, that's all right. There we go. We get the IP addresses, but not for all the locations yet. It's still nothing. It's just going to take some time to propagate the DNS changes. Once this is done, we should be able to see that default page right here. I have created that, but there's another thing that we need to do is create a virtual host for Apache 2. There is, you can see 00default.conf, and we are just going to edit that one, right? Because we're going to host just single website here anyway. And if you say that, how about not editing that one, not editing the existing one and just creating something new. That's also possible. Let's do that. Let's not alter anything that's already there. Sites available, and we just cp00 default to our site fashion.conf, and then going to update it, and you can see the virtual host as AD and server admin, and they're going to be the server name. So it's going to be the server name fashion. All right. Okay. Not going to change the document root right now. It's we will do it later. All right. So this is created, and now we are not done yet. We have to enable the site. So Ubuntu come with this command a2n site, and then fashion, and then it will ask to reload the Apache, and run our own configuration. So just going to copy that one default ssl.conf to fashion ssl.conf. And while we wait on this, I wanted to mention a couple of things that we're going to cover next. Once the Apache installation is completed and verified, we see that default Ubuntu page on this domain name. So at that stage, we should be done by setting up the EC2 instance and connecting it with our domain. That's part one. And the next thing we're going to do is you might have known about these two type of servers more frequently, Apache and Nginx. So other than that, there's another server that I personally really prefer and I like. It's called Lightspeed server. So the next thing we're going to do is configure the free version of Lightspeed, which is called Open Lightspeed, into this instance. And after that, we're going to install our WordPress. All right, I think the SSL engine is not installed here yet on the server, so we are going to check out the list of modules that is already enabled. So for that, we are going to check mods enabled, and we don't see any SSL, so we're going to enable E2N mod SSL. There we go. And systemctl restart Apache 2. Now let's reload it, and sites enabled. All right, it's already enabled, so we're going to reload Apache 2. Let's check out DNS propagation once again. Seems like it's not enabled yet. So what we're gonna do, okay, we got something here. It's 526. There we go. Invalid SSL certificate. All right, so that means it's working now. And if we are going to fix the SSL certificate as well, then there's a way to do it. It's by Let's Encrypt, and there's another thing that we can use. It's called Acme.sh. All right, so this is the one. Acme.sh is for installing in much easier way, so we're going to use it. And for that, I'm going to root, and I'm going to user SRC. Here's the installation steps. So we are going to get clone this one, and then cd into acme.sh, and then sh for the step installed, sh install. Then we're going to provide my email address, which is going to be info at abj.com. Yeah, let's do it. And then the installing is completed, and then the next thing we're going to do is right, so the installation is done. We're ready to use certs now, and there's a cron that we gotta set up. It's already set up, I think. Cron tab L, yeah, there it is. And we're going to issue the certificate now to offsite. So now it's going to be a domain name. So let's Acme.sh issue, then D domain. Oh, sorry, okay, something else. It's going to be our domain name, which is this, and the other thing that we gotta use is where it's going to be installed. Let's try without giving that parameter of w. No, we gotta provide that. Apache, and there are other things too. Install the certificate to Apache Nginx. Issue domain name. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to install it for Apache. rootfashion.com. Domain keys here. Sucks. We go. So we're going to follow this this Apache installation thing. We're going to create a directory for our SSL to reside, and let's call it certificates, and make dir, and then user, then local source, and then we're going to follow this instruction to install our certificate. We already have issued it, and then going to install the Acme. Acme.sh install cert d is the domain name is going to be the domain name of ours, and then there, as the instruction says, we need to define the cert file, key file, full chain file, and we're going to do exactly that. So it's a cert file and key file. Cert file is going to be, we need to make sure there is no typo. user local source. Then let's create a domain name, then cert.pem, and then going to be the key file, right? Yeah, that's going to be user local source. Then the name is going to be key.pem, right? Key.pem. And the next thing is a full chain file, full chain file, going to be in the same directory, local source full chain.pem, right? Now let's try it. The domain seems to be already having an set. Let's use it. Installing set. Alright, so we're going to create the directory usual local source. Then this, to run this, let's let it installing, and let's see if we have those files, usual local and source. Yeah, we have got those files. So now we're going to edit Apache 2 sites available fashion as a certificate file name. It's going to be user local source. Then how did you name it? Yeah, sort.pem, and the key file is going to be local source, then the domain name, and then key.pem, and this is certificate chain file. Is going to be user local source full chain.pem. Now let's try to restart the server. Reload Apache 2. Yeah. Let's see the sites enabled here. Sites. Yeah. So it looks like it's installed successfully, and there we go. We can see the SSL installed. We can verify it. I click in here. Connection is secure. Certificate is valid. Yes, let's encrypt. Right.